My name is Bobby Fossick. Ineshwaniksha Tichum Kiluthla Tanan Timki. In our language, my name is Earthwatcher. Come from the Wallowa band, as well as a wide variety of mixed immigrants to this land. Um, Together, we manage an organization called Naknui Thlama Tichumna, Caretakers of the Land. And our focus is to revitalize and reawaken and restore natural and cultural lifeways of the Mid Columbia River Basin and of the Blue Mountains and Wallowa Mountains, where we're at right now, as well as encourage and support and work towards the restoration of degraded habitats that support all of life as well as our lifeways. Um, yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah, hi. My name is Jaishri. A tribal member from the Umatilla Indian Reservation. I'm Cayuse, Umatilla, and Klickitat, and I'm also half Puerto Rican and born and raised on the reservation. And yeah, our program, we focus on cultural revitalization, teaching our native community how to identify, cook and preserve our first foods and medicines, how to tan hides, tule mats, different things that you might need throughout the year. So yeah, that's our work, and it's been really rewarding.
Yeah, you guys do so good. So, what is the project that you are currently raising money for?
Our current project and most of all of the projects we've focused on over the years have been, um, you know, spontaneous inspiration through our own life experiences, but things that are important to us but have been going dormant since the period of colonization has began in our lands, and we've been sort of forced into a more fast-paced, modern consumer lifestyle, and so a lot of our illness that we face today, whether it's mental, physical, or spiritual, is rooted in that traumatic separation from our lands and our waters and our natural lifeways that give us strength and help us to find ourselves and find our medicine. And so we have been focused for the last few years and for our lives on bringing back some of these arts and skills that are on the brink of dormancy or at risk of going dormant, such as making buckskin and
Cedar root
natural, yep,
baskets.
cedar root basket, natural fiber weaving. And so we're continuing on with all those things. But one of the big things we've been working on and that we're working on this coming year is a canoe carving project. Um, for years, we've been working towards reconnecting with our ancestral waters with the canoe coming from the big river and the Columbia River it's now called, and all the tributaries and all these mountain lakes and streams. Canoes have always been a really important part of our life, and for trade and for travel, for socialization and enjoyment, for just crossing the river. We've been water people for a really long time, and uh, so over the years we've been working to reconnect with ancestral waterways through canoeing and paddling and connecting with other tribes in that way. And all along that route have been kind of keeping our eye out, for people that know about carving canoes, because it's been out of practice, for the most part. There's been a few families that kept it going, but not very many. Mostly the Wanapum tribe. At Priest Rapids, they've continued with a lot of different skills, but other than them, a lot of people have fallen out of practice with these things. So we've been taking modern canoes out paddling at the Columbia here at Wallowa Lake and many mountain streams and rivers, and uh, learning from others about how to carve a canoe and what kind of trees to look out for. Learning the history of canoes the best we can, learning our language that goes with the canoes and all the processes. And um, over the last few years, we've been kind of watching some trees here at Wallowa Lake, and over this last year, begun building a relationship with the state park to utilize some of the trees that are deemed a hazard to the campground and to be able to carve them into canoes. And so this next year we're going to harvest a tree. Here in the next couple weeks we're going to harvest the tree, and then over the first part of this next year we're going to carve it into a canoe with a team of people, and then it'll be used to reconnect ourselves, our family, and our youth of our community, and other families with ancestral waterways and with other tribes through ceremonial paddles and camps and things like that. Um, like I said, we have a long history with canoes, and it was kind of a pretty forceful and abrupt end to that way of life, from getting forced onto reservations, and those that didn't go right away, especially around the time of the Yakima Wars, down on the Columbia. If any native people were seen paddle in a canoe, they were shot on sight, and canoes taken, and then the damming of the river and the Columbia and the Snake River, all the many dams kind of literally cut off that connection from village to village and site to site. And then up in the mountains, the rivers were all modified to become more like a ditch than a river, which, a lot of the rivers were cut into just one straight line or a series of straight lines, which cut off a lot of the ability to navigate a lot of these places, and a lot of waterways drained almost completely. And so the loss of canoe culture goes with the loss of habitat and the loss of fish and the loss of a lot of our ways of life. So by bringing back the canoes in a way where they're used as a way to connect and to pray and to socialize and to learn about our homelands and our waterways is a big healing and a big deal for us, and that's going to be our main focus in this next few months. So a lot to talk about just around the canoe itself,
Totally.
And cultures all over the world, we all have relied on things like canoes and our own 2 feet and horses for a long time, and all those things have just kind of gotten pushed to the wayside and pushed out of our memory as we adapt to the fast-paced world. And but they also serve to help connect us, at a time when we're seeing the effects of being separated from each other and from the land and the water.
It seems like it'll connect both to the past and the future.
Totally, yeah. And it carry us back into the circle, and and carry us learning from the past, carry us into the future.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you guys. I can't wait to see the canoe.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Anything that we do is a lot of work.
And that's one thing I really admire about you guys. You really take the time.
Yeah, like restoring land, like tending land. We think we're going to go tend the land and all the things that really the land is tending us. Or same with tanning a hide. It takes everything you got to tan a hide, and it's just just the medicine that you needed, just enough push to just give your all, and then have this beautiful hide that you can pass down from generation to generation. Same with cedar root baskets. I have a cedar root basket that's over 200 years old, but it takes so long to take their root and split it down and to have everything prepped just to start weaving, to start, it just and I think it's going to be the same with the canoe. Right. I think the canoe is going to ask a lot of us, but it's going to carve us,
Totally.
In its own medicine way. Yeah.
Totally. It's that slowness is the past, but again, it's the future too. 'Cause trying to do everything quick like we are right now is not sustainable, and it can't last forever.
Yeah.
It's not going to take us where we need to go for sure. So I really admire that about you guys, and you always just watching your journey, reminds me to take the time to make something, or experiment with
you doing that too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I feel like you are really doing that. So coming from you, it means a lot. But who are the people that you're bringing to like help the carvers, right? Is what you said.
Mhm.
Who are they, and do they like? How do they know how to do it? Or are you
Yeah.
going to be learning together, or?
Well, some like our two main carvers, PT Bruno and Alex Russell. They're pretty low key, humble guys, but they are both really experienced on the rivers and with rafting and canoeing, and their love for the water and for canoes and paddling took them on some trips, to paddle the entire length of the Columbia River, and to learn to build dugouts and to paddle dugouts on the Columbia River. And so, in their doing that and learning, they ended up helping a lot of tribes along the Columbia River to
Oh, cool.
revitalize dugout canoe culture along the Columbia. And so they have gained a lot of experience through that. And so they're
Nice.
the two main people we're hiring to come and help us carve the canoe, as well as a bunch of volunteers from the local community here in Wallowa County,
Nice.
as well as from our tribal community and other tribal communities around
Cool.
are going to come and volunteer. And yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
Evan, we have three carvers. Evan, he's a WSU student, and he's going to come down when he can too to help carve. And he's also, um, skilled river guide and canoeist,
Nice.
and working on sort of hard to put his work into a nutshell, but he's getting his PhD in anthropology and trying to do it in a way that doesn't just put us in the past, and it shows that we're still on, we're still going, and we're still carrying on our culture, and how carrying our culture forward is, also how we, take care of the land and the water, and improve our society essentially going forward. So I can't really speak for him, but it seems to be what kind of his work is coming together as, and how we've been brought together. And we've been brought together, how we met was through the Palouse family, the descendants of Mary Jim, who was from the Snake River and was one that their family stayed on the Snake River and resisted going to the reservations right away. And then once the lower Snake River dams were put in, their homestead sites, instead of going to a reservation, they did the homestead route, just like any other American citizen at that time. But then when the dams were put in through eminent domain, they lost their homestead sites to those villages being flooded. And so Mary Jim, her vision was always, she was a really wise elder. She couldn't see, she was blind, but she could see a lot more than any of us can. And her vision was always to bring the people back to the Snake River, and that eventually the Snake River would be free again. And so that Palouse family has been working for years, through gatherings at the river and whatnot, to keep that connection alive. And then Ione Jones, Mary Jim's granddaughter, started a nonprofit called Chimstanik, which is Mary Jim's name in our language. And that was one of the big projects she's also been working on. And how we ended up meeting was through the canoe work. She knew that she wanted to bring canoes. One of their ancestors was buried in his canoe, and that was one of the last canoes on the Snake, was the one he was buried in.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of canoe activity on the lower Snake. But so she started hosting workshops and whatnot, and inviting experienced and inexperienced canoe people and different tribes and non-tribal people as well that are experienced with canoes to come together to see how we can start to have more paddle events and whatnot. So that's how we met these carvers and these river guides, is through these paddles and workshops. And so they helped her family carve a canoe earlier this year in 2025. I keep saying last year because I feel like we're in the solstice portal and we're coming into the new year, but it's still this year on the calendar. But helped their family carve a canoe and took it out on the Snake, paddled from Lions Ferry down to Fishup Park, and then they paddled it and a bunch of other paddles throughout the summer. And so now we're getting one done for our family and for our tribal youth and families, and hopefully just keep building them as we go. You know.
Nice. Are you going to be taking it to some paddle events like you were talking about? Or
Yeah, that's the goal. We're trying to be
Yeah.
done by spring so that we can take it to some of these intertribal paddles, and so that we
Nice.
can join with other tribal canoe families on the river and just keep seeing. Hopefully, each year or two, there's another dugout and another dugout, and
Yeah.
hopefully soon, just a big fleet of dugouts coming down the rivers and
Hell yeah.
to hold that presence. And we'll do a paddle here at Wallowa Lake around. We started doing it last year around the same time as the Tamclick celebration, which is a big celebration in Wallowa, intended to bring back the Wallowa band descendants and people with kinship ties to this area, to maintain that relationship. So all these interconnected efforts, you know,
Yeah.
that we're all playing a piece, you know, filling whatever roles we fill, and then bringing it together and helping, supporting one another, and
Weaving it together.
yeah.
How does the current state of like the dams and stuff affect like these efforts and the possibilities of canoe culture and
Yeah, it
movement?
has a huge effect on it because, you know, the fish aren't, you know, we can't live off fish like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
The rivers are dammed, so it's just a series of reservoirs essentially. And so even in that, you know, it's like trying to build a canoe to replicate a historical canoe, you know, exactly might not be the best bet. We have to take some measures in our canoe building to make sure that it can handle that wide open water, and that it can handle wakes coming off of shipping barges, and that we can handle you know, those kind of changes. And we have to figure out how are we going to get around. If our trip entails going around a dam, we either have to set up shuttle systems with vehicles or go through the locks, you know. And so all these things are challenges, but it also highlights how our culture has been inhibited by these types of settler colonial activities.
Yeah. And your resilience as well.
Yeah. And we have to, you know, when we're going out on these paddles, we have to keep up on, you know, Columbia River Keeper does a good job, because it's hard to know, you know, when the algae blooms the toxic algae
Right.
blooms are happening, or when there's E. coli in the river, which is all the time. Like, you know, any major cities constantly leaking sewage into the rivers, all the factories, the data centers. So many industries have their sights set on the Columbia River, and so it makes it really challenging just for us to live, you know, just for us to have clean water as river people. And so in a way it's like really exciting to get out there on the water, and then it's also puts so much stuff right in your face, but then it also brings that presence back. We're constantly returning, and a little bit more all the time. And so then we're seeing these changes, and we're seeing the effects, and we're speaking up about it. And the children that come along with us are there seeing it too, and like understanding my basic birth given right to drink water and to paddle on the water and to eat food and to breathe is being infringed upon. Not even talking about treaty rights and legality, you know, which it's infringing on that too, but just basic human rights of being able to have our needs met are being encroached upon and infringed upon, and restricted by this ever increasing demand for resources, and for, you know, the data centers are just, they keep wanting to put in more and more, you know, to keep up with the technology. and they're taking, it takes a lot of water to cool those down, and then
Right.
as that water comes out, a lot of it's evaporated, and so all the
Mm.
contaminants that are in the water are being concentrated and then spread back on the
Mm.
farmland, and then the farmland's so destroyed that all that contaminated water is going right back into the groundwater aquifer, which then you got people in places like Boardman, Umatilla, our reservation, that can't drink the water because it's so contaminated, and it's all a big vicious cycle, and
Right.
nothing. It doesn't seem to be much to like try to solve that, but to just keep
Mm.
ramping it up,
Yeah.
and any kind of solution that comes around, once you really get to understanding it, it's mostly just a greenwashed way of offsetting so that
Mhm.
these industries can just ramp up their
Keep
pollution
going.
even more.
Right.
Stay in business, not just stay in business, but like increase their pollution because they can say, well, I got this offset from this, false climate solution,
Yeah. For real.
So there's all these things that, but that's part of the process too, is that if we got put on reservations and kept busy, we
Mhm.
wouldn't see these things happening. And so in some ways we were never supposed to bring our canoes back and to go out on those
Right.
waters like that.
There
We were
must be
not
a
supposed to
reason
see
that
these things,
they would shoot people for that. Like
Yeah,
such a level of violence. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's ongoing. It's not like, oh, what happened in the past, we weren't involved in that or not, it's like it's still going on, and
Mhm.
we're all benefiting from it, or in some ways, and we're all being, our future and our children's lives are being um, gambled with,
Yeah.
for
Very, very much.
just trying out new industries and stuff like that. So
It's crazy. Like undeleted emails versus water.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Being
water
able
being
to
life. Like,
look something up real
yeah.
quick. I do it
Yeah.
too. It's nice being able to look something up or to be able to communicate so rapidly.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, it creates almost more of it. It seems like it's more rapid, but it's also more disconnecting, not only
Mhm.
from each other but from the natural world.
Yeah.
And I think back to the times when our families only had canoes and their feet and horses, and how well organized they were. Much better than now with email and
Yeah.
Facebook and text message, and you know. Um,
Mhm.
so all these things, hide, tan, and weaving, like they're great skills to know, and then they also, the canoes, they great skills to know, but then they also reconnect us and give us the strength, and to respond to these things,
Mhm.
and rebuild that relationship with all of the natural world, and
Yeah. I feel like you're showing people a reminder that there is another way to live, and even if it's like you integrate it where you can, because like also we do live in this world and we have electricity and all these things are like around us, but um like I think you've taught me a lot about um why we can't just like live in the woods right now, and because I used to think about that all the time, like why can't we just move into the woods? Why would it be so hard to like live in the woods? Well, it didn't used to be, right? It didn't used to be like that. um and that's something you could explain a lot better. But I think that so much of what you guys do, it like integrates these ways back into life, like wherever you're at, and that's really amazing. And like that hope, I feel like, is really important and impactful.
Most skincare tries to fix your skin with chemical band aids. I grew up learning real formulation from my grandfather, blending Indian ancestral practices with the art of perfumery and chemistry grounded in nature. Every ingredient we use is chosen with intention. No toxins, no endocrine disruptors, no shortcuts. Just earth based, evidence backed elements that help your skin heal, rebalance, and strengthen on a deeper level. This is skincare that honors your roots, supports your body, and respects the planet. Rooted in culture, made for everyone.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like one of I consider him a mentor, John Eagle Senior. He's from the plains, and he's a horseman, and he would say like, he's just echoing words of his elders too, but as most of these words aren't my own, but the earth and all the creatures of the earth used to be able to take care of us, but now because of what's been done to the earth needs our help. There used to be a time when the sky would be blackened with migratory birds, and now the flocks are little packs here and there, and the metaphor or the way it was said, by many people in many of these streams, around here all the way up into the mountains, was that the fish were so thick in those creeks that you could walk across their backs,
Yeah.
and I've heard that repeated all over the Northwest, that people saying that about creeks or
when I
at
went to
different
Canada
falls.
too, they were talking about how like you could walk to here, and I've heard how they would say like you could walk there from here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or like at different falls where there is always over 100 fish midair, at those falls. And so just imagine if there's always over 100 fish just in the air trying to jump up those falls, and where the people camped at those falls were harvesting 1,000+ fish a day, and there's still a ton making it up. It's different times now, and the earth needs our help, and so that's part of as we talk about cultural revitalization. It's not going back in time to reenacting a certain time. It's about calling upon our teachings and our relationship to the land to be able to adapt to what's happening. And that's where I think the canoes and the paddling and the paddle camps and trips done ceremonially and prayerfully just hold a lot of it we don't even know yet what it's going to do for us. I don't even know how to explain what it's because I don't know yet, but every step of the way, every stroke of the way, it reveals, oh, this is why I was called down the river a little bit farther, because of what it has to show us and what it has to teach us about working together, working with the land, working with the water. Had another thought, but I lost it. But
yeah, you shared a lot of really good thoughts.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the canoe journey has in store for us, because it does feel like it's a mystery. Like we have the motion forward, but I just know that there's so much for us, and just to be available to listen to the water. The water speaks, and the trees speak. And I'm excited, and also to do it at the state park where Wallowa Lake is, which it's just this pure, cold, clear, flowing water that is coming from these high mountain lakes. And it's just going to be such an opportunity to speak for the water every time someone gets in the canoe, every time, because we're going to open it to the public, to the greater community to come help us, and they're going to be invited in, and so they're going to learn about the cottonwood tree,
right?
And the water that's going to be right there, like holding space. Everything is going to be witnessing us as we move forward in this. So I'm excited to see how they use us. I feel like we're being used for something greater than what we know, and it's falling in line really greatly. We got enough funding to pay the carvers and for all of the carving tools, for all of the gear once the canoe is done. So we're still
awesome.
It's really coming together. So we're still trying to find funding for the carver's gas and then our food while we carve the canoe for the 4 months. We're hoping to be done in April. But a lot of it's coming together, and it feels like it's bigger than us, and we just get to be a part of it. And so I'm excited.
Totally. I had the thought to like ask you guys, like, kind of like, I couldn't word it because like I knew I wasn't supposed to ask it, but it was something like, what is the kind of goal or like the vision of like where this is going to go? But I like knew it was a mystery, or I knew that question would be like not the right question. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to get people out into the water, onto the water, to work together, like you're saying, to learn how to work together, to just
Yeah.
listen to the water, like read the water. There's
Yeah.
just so much. You start thinking different too. Like I noticed
Yeah.
that I was getting different downloads on the
Mm,
canoe than I was on land. And
that
then it
makes
also
sense.
came with like the confidence to do the thing. Like the path was
Mm-hmm.
just clear. And like we started a homeschool um community, and it happened while we were all in the canoe. It was like
Oh,
something that
nice.
just like everything that we needed was just right there with us, and it happened on the water, and it was just like so clear to me that it was because we were on water than
Yeah,
on land. Like I don't know, it was a different energy.
that makes
So,
sense. That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, so who knows what else
Yeah.
will happen.
I love that the vision is like staying open to what the vision's going to become also.
Yeah, understanding that
Yeah.
we're working with these like high beings, like
Mhm.
water.
Yeah.
Water is just like such a medium for the creator, you know, if you think about it.
Yeah. And our bodies are made of water.
Yeah, we are water.
We are
Yeah.
water, like yeah.
That's what along this journey, you know, as we progress and it opens up into the next part of it, and I'll hear, oh, your dreams are coming in true, your ideas are coming into fruition, and I'm like, I can't take credit that this was my idea or my dream. I feel like I'm catching up to something that's much bigger than me, and I'm finally, oh yeah, I'm catching up to the reality of what I'm here to do, you know, and
Like
what's
you've
going.
aligned
There's
yourself
something,
to it.
yeah, there's something much bigger going on, and the things that are tangible of like goals or things that we've already seen happen is everything she's saying, you know, and then you know the way the water just pulls, you know, because we're dealing with a lot of trauma, intergenerational trauma, and a lot of the Western ways of dealing with it don't really help it that much. You know, myself
Right.
included, I was put through different kinds of programs to try to deal with my mental and behavioral issues growing up, and some of them feel like they almost make it worse. But then when you're with the water or with horses or on the land, it just pulls it out of you. And when you're on the water, it pulls it out of you, and then you're left with just strength and unity, you know, and you'll hear a lot like one heart, one mind. And I think once I was on the water with a group of people, then that's one of the main times that I've felt that become more than an idea of one heart, one mind. Like, because in most of the world, it seems like most people are doing the opposite. They're working against each other and trying to solidify that distinction, that individuality, that like that fallacy that we're not part of one, you know, one loop of life, you know. But you really become one heart, one mind, including the body of water you're on, and including the spirits of those places. Each body of water has its own unique essence, you know, and so you get to know it, and you have to build your relationship with it.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I feel like when you're talking about that it reminds me of the Boat Kid videos, and I feel like that's why it got so viral, like so worldwide, is because everybody saw that like just next level synchronicity of everybody just going, and it being like about joy, like them just being there connected with each other on the water and dancing, and it's like
that's what it's about, right? Yeah. No matter what we're doing, like being connected, enjoy, and like what you said earlier, I'm finding that connection of, and I would love for you to explain it, but like how what we're doing is other people's dream or prayers.
Yeah, it is an idea that my coach shared with me, which she's going to be a guest soon too.
Awesome.
Yeah, but she was telling us that basically everything that we want to create, like that desire, was put in you because somebody else desired that thing that you wanted to create. So, and people are praying for it, and all of the things that you create have a deeper resonance that is what those people are praying for. So yeah, I would be like really curious to know what you guys maybe could think of what people are praying for with what all you're creating.
Well, the first thing I think about is like my great grandmas, Lillian and Edith Kanini, and
What?
there's so many times that, yeah, there's so many times that
That's cool.
we'll be doing something that just naturally is unfolded in our lives, and someone will say, your great grandmas Lillian and Edith used to do the same thing or whatever," and then it was no different with the canoe journey. Once I got on this canoe journey, I've always been drawn to the water, and I've always, all through my life, paddled something, whether it's a log or a blow up raft or anything I can get on the water on. But the canoes are really calling and activated something in me that was just like waiting to wake up, and so it's just been going ever since. But once I was like understood that this is something big that I need to feed, then I started to hear these stories about your grandmas were always praying and dreaming that our, because the coastal tribes started bringing their canoes back in the 80s and 90s really strong with those big journeys, but our canoes are different style, and our ways of canoeing are different, but really important and sacred to us too, and we need to bring those back. And I started hearing those stories from some different people that were close with my grandmas, and so I feel like they were always praying for this, and so knowing that just only reinforced my drive to like keep at this ceremony more than it is a work. It's a ceremony, and same with the canoe building, like it's a ceremony, and we gotta be mindful of the way we compose ourselves, and what we're thinking and what we're putting into our what the energy we're putting into the things we're doing, and being on the water too, and you stroke the water, the vortex and the and it's been studied that water just absorbs what we're thinking and feeling, and so
true.
as we all, then it comes to now with whoever we're paddling with, whether I'm paddling solo or the three of us or have a bunch of other kids with us, of staying with our songs and always staying in a good state of mind, and understanding that we're putting our prayers into the water. So pray for the water, pray for those before us that were praying for us, that we would be able to maintain this relationship, and pray for those yet to come, and that everybody that's supported or gifted or helped, all those, even if it's a donation, to me that's a prayer to see it keep going,
Absolutely.
or if it's a prayer, just like, I really feel like that's a lot of why it's all coming together, because a lot of it's just a big leap of faith, like I don't know how it's all going to come together, but I'm doing, like I said, doing something that is bigger than my personality or anything about Bobby, it's something bigger. It's about the water, it's about life. So just taking all that prayer and putting it together,
just letting it flow.
Yeah.
What about you?
About what was the question?
On the on the thing of, if you have any sense of like what those prayers are that are asking for what creations are coming through you. I don't know if I said that in a way that makes sense, but let me know if you need me to say it in a different way.
Yeah.
Totally. If you have any sense of what the prayers are that people are praying for when it comes to the creations that are coming through you, whether it's in the past, future, or in any timeline, really.
It's hard to know what people need and what their prayers are, but if I could imagine, I would imagine that a lot of people's prayers are to be together. To be together in a good way, to lift each other up, to feel like important, and that, to enjoy life together. So maybe that's through song, maybe that's through paddling, just listening to the water, like really trusting that the water knows too, that the water is going to provide whatever it is that we need in this moment, those kind of things. And like, I think the connection is really big, to just feel that connectedness, that the truth of the matter, that we are all connected. And so we can just kind of tap into that way of life, how fulfilling that truly is, which can unfold in the present moment, you know. So like holding space for it to be safe space, to be a kind space, to know that you're welcome, and to enjoy. That's kind of, I'm just kind of like gonna hold that space and then see what unfolds, knowing that this is like once we're on the water, but also like the whole time creating the canoe. I'm sure there's going to be lots of opportunities to just like be kind, you know, sing some good songs, like all the things, like understand that, you know, treat others the way I want to be treated. That kind of thing. I think that's where my role is, and I can see the need there. So I imagine that's people's prayers, at least it's part of it, you know.
I feel like what's coming through a lot is that, you know, a lot of us are, regardless of what background we come from, are trying to, one way or another, release our traumas and release the cycles that come from our traumas. So that we can live into our potentials as individuals and as collective. And that's why I feel like this is such a powerful path, because it all that stuff just happens naturally when you're out there, whether it's carving the canoe or taking it out on the water, or even planning for a trip or at camp or whatever. That stuff kind of all naturally happens. And then you know, some of those real tangible things too are that, because one of the things talking about that organization pre-modern technology was from those family ties and how strong they were. And one of the immediate things that happened was families that worked really well together got moved far apart from each other, you know, so that cohesiveness, that strength was weakened, so that we'd rely more on these external and imported ways of thinking and being and sustenance, and that are causing us health issues. And so these paddles bring back that family to family, nation to nation. Already the few paddles we've been on, I've just made such long-lasting friendships that feel like we're rekindling from our ancestors, you know, and we're bringing our children together so they'll have a strong connection to the future, and so that we can clear some of that baggage, so that we can actually respond to what's going on in the present and be that voice for the water and the land, and make decisions that are going to improve life for all people on earth. At a time when, like we were saying earlier, you know, when so much technology is ramping up, one of our carvers said, we were having lunch the other day right before they went home, and said, isn't it crazy to think, you know, do you ever realize, like, out in the world that, you know, you see all these robots being built and stuff, and then here you're just so focused on canoes and hides and, you know, things that were supposedly the old unimproved way of being. Yeah, I can easily forget about those things, but I think they still have a lot of power to help us connect and come together and to heal those traumas. And yeah, a lot of things to talk about.
Hell yeah, that's beautiful. So on the note of funding, guys, where can people who are moved to or feel called to send a donation to help you guys?
Yeah, so you know, kind of, I'll try to keep it short, but our organization operates, we're an independent, you know, organization, but we operate through the fiscal sponsorship of the Episcopal Diocese of Eastern Oregon, which is a Christian organization, and their efforts have been to educate themselves and their congregations on the doctrine of discovery, the papal bulls, and their effects on indigenous people and lands all across the globe. You know, basically different popes of different times declaring, you know, whatever Euro-Christian country, you have the right in the name of God to go and dehumanize people and take their lands and their resources. If they're not Euro-Christian, you can take it and enslave them or kill them off or whatever, and it's in the name of God. And so they're kind of uncovering a lot of that, and
That's
you know,
good.
trying to unwind a lot of that history. And so through dismantling and repudiating the doctrine of discovery and manifest destiny, and so that's kind of the root of our partnership there. So I had to explain that, but
Yeah, that's really cool.
so they're trying to correct some of that, and one of their ways of correcting that is by supporting our organization as a fiscal sponsor and with some admin support. So our donations, it's a kind of a lengthy process, but you go to www.coveascensionschool.com.
We'll put a link in
At
the
the top of the
description
page,
also.
there's at the top of their webpage, there's a button that just says donate. You can go there, and then on the donate page, there's a menu, and you just select Caretakers of the Land, and they don't tax us or anything. 100% of the funds go right into our program, and this year we'll fund all of these efforts. You know, and like she said, we got funding for our carvers and for a lot of our equipment. So now we're raising funds so that we can go to the paddle events, and we can host, and for helping us host some of our paddle events, and for um, other projects later in the year, like our buckskin camps and things like that. We work all year round doing seasonal round and cultural revitalization. So any donations go 100% towards that.
Nice. And also for January and February, 10% of profits from Cloud Pink Beauty are going to go to you guys too. So
Wow,
Thank you so much.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
anybody who needs to get your skincare and hair care or vaginal care together for the new year, you can also help them a little bit through that too. And on that note, would you like to share your testimonial as you've been using our hair care for about like 6 months or so?
Yeah,
7.5.
7.5. Yeah, we were talking about it.
Yeah, and using some of our
Yes.
skincare and stuff too, which obviously I've always wanted you to be a skin model because
Oh.
it's not too hard to make your skin glow. But
Oh, thanks.
yeah.
I love it. I'm loving the shampoo. I'm loving the conditioner. And I also have the face cleanser as well. I guess I could talk about the shampoo and conditioner first.
Yeah. Your hair's been so curly.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, so I have curly hair, half Native American, half Puerto Rican. And I'm loving it. I feel like it helps with the dandruff. I don't think I
Nice.
have very much dandruff anymore.
Hell yeah.
My hair feels clean. I have it gets the tangles out. It's also shiny and soft.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I've been using it for, I would say, about 7 months now.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
And how about the skincare? That was more recent, right? Like
Yeah.
few months you've been using
It's
that?
been a few months.
Yeah.
It's been a few
Nice.
months. It's been a solid few months. I love it. And both the shampoo and conditioner and the skin cleanser, I like that it's non-toxic. It
Yeah.
does matter to me,
Yeah.
the quality, and I do make sure, like my makeup too, that if I'm wearing any makeup, that it's non-toxic, as natural as possible.
Yeah. You're a water warrior. You're not trying to put some bullshit in your
I'm not
water
trying
and
to
in your
get-
face.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get skin cancer or anything
Yeah.
like that, and all the things. So, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That, I know it's made with good ingredients,
Yeah.
and I appreciate the lineage too.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that really comes through.
You can feel the
So-
connection and like there's that sacred energy in it when you use it, right?
Yes, I know
Yeah.
that you all are putting a lot of love into it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it just
Thanks
feels
so
really
much.
potent. Yeah, for
I'm really
sure.
glad. And have you
Yeah.
noticed any changes or anything with your skin at all?
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of breakout.
Nice.
I need to. My daughter was like, you need to start using it day and night, because sometimes I'll forget to do it at night,
Yeah.
and I just do it in the morning.
Yeah. I always notice if I skip the night, I feel like I don't wake up looking as fresh. Like I feel like I can notice like the lines or the puffiness and stuff more.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm gonna need to like start making it more regular to do at night, but I do it I wash my face every single day with
Nice.
the cleanser.
It's looking awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Thank
as
you.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these guys are Meadow's parents. So if you watched the Meadow episode and loved it, this is the credit for that right there. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
All right. Bye. Look at that, 45 minutes. Woo!
Awesome.
That was really good, guys. I won't have to cut anything.
Oh, cool.